Sorry, everyone, for the information cutoff. Happens sometimes. Intuitively speaking, I usually interpret that as me being blocked from delivering a pertinent message. But let's carry forward here into the second part of the first video that got cut off. Not all people who use these tools, right, are with the intention to create issues for people, which is why it's so crucial to know the difference between someone who is helping you with those tools and someone who is really trying to harm you with those tools. Um, those who practice any kind of spirituality, regardless of creed, right, you can tell when they're a good person because they leave your dignity of risk and your choices up to you. They don't try to sway you. They don't try to cajole you into something. They don't try to sell you a dream that doesn't resonate with you. They don't try to force you. They don't try to force you into a role that doesn't feel like it belongs to you. Now, while people will experience uncertainty and everything, which is where literally evil will play on and within your uncertainties in life, right? So you want to know yourself as best you can, but apart from knowing yourself, you want to know what you're getting into. You want to be a well-rounded individual with good intentions. You want to be studied in any field that you can. You want to be informed about things that maybe you don't care about because the convenience of caring about it is too much for you. You want to at least know the playing field, whether or not you step onto it. Knowing your territory is crucial. It is. It is crucial. Regardless of your interest of it, you must know things, right? But the thing that I want to convey here is that while it is human to have a sense of uncertainty, it is rather unhuman to play within a person's uncertainty to collect off of it. And that is what these attacks are about. That is what romance scams are about. There is always a risk. There is always a risk involved when you're involving yourself and your emotions in something, which is why a lot of people are so comfortable to detach and say, it's not worth it for me. It's not worth the investment for me, which is actually a rather unhealthy response that's being developed when it's applied to every situation that they're in. When it becomes comfortable to detach from situations that you should be investing in, you actually are developing yourself an emotional and mental illness. But it's not to say that detaching from things that are unhealthy for your growth as a person is within that same context of ill health. It's not. And it's especially sad when, as I mentioned in the previous video, your family happens to be the person who is grooming you to be detached from your own health, to serve them as a purpose, as a sacrifice, as something that is meant to give them prosperity at your expense. We're talking about trust fund babies who get adopted into families without their knowledge and then get killed through insurance policies that are handed off to launder the money, right? We're talking about serious topics that match this, like people who are sold at young ages to feed their parents' drug habits, their travel habits, their lifestyle habits that should have been maybe not even entered, let alone continued when they had a child. Decisions are crucial. Decisions are important. They can make or break the futures of not just you, but everyone you bring into the world, everyone you bring into your life, into your events, into your current affairs, right? So romance scams are particularly nasty because they play on the most vulnerable part of a person, their soul, their heart, their emotional space without logic. There is no logic really in a heart space. There is only discernment. Now, while they say the heart is wise, yes, the heart is wise because the heart is the first thing in your emotional space to take that beat down if you fail, right? But what they don't tell you about wisdom is that wisdom is pain. The first type of pain a person can feel is emotional pain, because even physical pain doesn't always register right away. It's everyone else's feelings about the person getting hurt, usually as a child, that they first experience. So this registers and it resonates as a frequency all throughout a person's life. So when a person plays on the trauma of a person's experiences, they're actually playing on a person's entire history to keep them stuck in their history instead of allowing them to grow. This is also a type of spiritual sacrifice meant to set in as an influence and then influence the person to physically harm themselves. And it's usually for money. It's usually for asset acquisition. It's usually to make sure that somehow, some way, this person becomes a cash cow to benefit someone else instead of having autonomy over their choices for what they want, for themselves, for their money, for their goals and dreams. This is something that is still not fully maybe honored as a threat, a tangible threat by the courts. There are people who are accused of being witches and then, cast out for whatever reason, but it's a bit discriminatory because keep in mind, irregardless of faith, it's intention that you're measuring in any court. And if your intention is to use tools, spiritual in nature or not, to apprehend someone from their own future because you say so, this is a crime. It is a criminal act. I, for one, I'll be the first person to tell you, I have had voodoo done on me. You see? This is the kind of stuff, the weird synchronicities where just when you're about to say something important, it just falls from your mouth like it wasn't supposed to happen, right? It wasn't supposed to be paid attention to. This is yet another thing that will tend to happen to people who are delivering legitimate messages. So give me a second. Let me bend your ear for another minute here. I've had voodoo done on me. I can tell you what it feels like. It feels like your own body is doing stuff outside of your control. Very, very well. Very well. As if another person's hands are doing it. Okay? I felt someone stitch me to something. I felt someone take a portion of my left side, my ribs, and stitch it like a handmaiden would stitch with a ribbon. I even felt the width of what was going through my skin and how long it was. It was about this long in length to have been stitched about 7 times with intention that I did not have for myself. I intuited these things. How? I have no idea. But that was not a simple twitch of my body. It was not a nerve response. It wasn't anything. I was warned. Okay? And to this day, in my recent history, I've had pinches. I've felt sensations over my body that didn't seem like they were in my control. There was something going on outside entirely of anything that I was doing with my own hands, my own mind, my own eyes, and my own bodily autonomy of choice, my own dignity of risk. This is the type of thing that indicates abuse in the spiritual realm. This is the type of thing that indicates that people are not paying attention to where people's intentions really are. Another thing I would like to point out here is that after these things happen, even weirder things start happening. Men will show up to the opposite sex, women the same will just start appearing as if to say, I was sent, but never say it. They won't say it. But it's like the synchronicity of a person showing up the way that they do, when they do, and with the attitude that they do. It is very important to pay attention to people's attitudes when they show up, because a lot of them will have the same type of approach with you, which is an attitude of expectation. Why would they be expecting you if they don't know you and have no awareness of you, lent or otherwise offered, right? So that's a bit strange, isn't it, to consider that? And then there are other things here that you can pay attention to. Like, supposing someone invites you out on a date and suddenly your cheeks just start burning as if they're on fire. And in the back of your mind, you have this inkling like, why am I even here? Why am I on this date? Why did I choose to do this? Why is my face so hot? Why does it feel like I need to rub Vaseline on my face? This is voodoo being abused. I would like to clarify, to avoid any and all racism being pointed at voodoo practitioners, that voodoo is a healing practice. Voodoo is meant to be therapeutic. But those who practice voodoo banefully are not therapists. They are not doctors. They are witches. They are warlocks of evil orders. They have no intention to heal you. They have intentions to steal from one to give to others who were never destined to hold that, okay? I would like to say that that is the problem we're focusing on here because it's not exclusive to voodoo. It just happens to be that that is one of the better known practices that is known to do this, that is candid about it. Maybe more so than others. However, there are also higher orders of paganists, followers of Aleister Crowley, followers of Satan, really, by any other name, who, and I feel all of your eyes on me at this moment in the spirit realm, I suggest you desist. I see about 40 eyes on me at this time, as if all of you woke up at once. Yeah, followers of Aleister Crowley and the Golden Dawn. I would like to clarify that these are practices that involve the consultation of Satan. That's why tarot cards got a bad rep in the first place. Thoth, the mathematical annotation of patterns, was used by followers of Aleister Crowley to clarify the messages in the Golden Dawn. However, I would like to petition to all of my real spiritualists out here to sit in real close to the campfire for this one. The Golden Dawn was a known sacrificial cult that sacrificed the truth of artistry for the sake of their success through one such, Pamela Colman Smith, who designed this deck of cards, the Pixie Lenormand deck. She is also the original artist for all of the Waite decks, the Rider Waite, the Albano Waite, and all the other collaboration Waite decks. She designed those original images, and she disappeared for helping the Golden Dawn. She was cast away for giving to this group. They literally abused the shit out of her, groomed her, and cajoled her into cooperating through false love, through deception. Literally, the act of Satan embodied itself. No one to this day knows really what happened to her, and many investigators have tried to talk about it. What it sounds like they did was they harvested all of her art, sold it all over the world, and left her for dead, much like people who still sacrifice people today do. She is arguably one of the worst recipients of the romance scam tactic on earth. Her father was an affluent salesman who was in sea trade. He was involved in trades of the sea. He would collect art from people who came to his section of the dock, and he sold it. He was very well off. And Pamela Colman Smith, for the record, was a person of color. She wasn't some traditionally white woman. She was an affluent person of color. So there are a number of issues here. There's the fact that it could be a race bait that's here. There's the fact that in this particular context, like, okay, this person is showing people that it's possible to break out of what we placed on them in the way of a man-made construct of restriction. She's showing people, they're showing people, not only that they're different from us and our order that we're trying to set here, but she's the best example of what will fall and devastate communities if we get to her, right? This is what the real agenda was there. This is what the real purpose was there. To destroy proof that good is real. To destroy proof even more succinctly and properly worded. To destroy proof that God will bless people and that it will go against the odds of what people are used to, what they're used to seeing, what they're used to knowing. There are entire orders saying we can't let this be known. And that is exactly what they did to Pamela Coleman Smith, who is only commemorated, honestly, overseas. She's revered in England. No one knows a thing about her here in the States. And if they do, come forward and comment here in the discussion, because this woman was prey to the love that she had for her cult, that she did not realize was trying to sacrifice her by inducting her. And this is very common even today in a lot of underground societies that pretend to have your best interest at heart. They'll rope you in with a story, how you're not safe around anyone but them, that they know the real story, and then what do you know? You become one of their real stories among them after you're gone. So here is another thing. If not removed from the earth, people who are hunted with these tools are often made conduits, used for their talents, their communication abilities, their abilities to tap into other realms, and then abused until they continue to cooperate to do so. There are also other situations where people will purposely, forcefully mate with these people to remain attached to not only their spiritual inheritances by God through matrimony, which is again a consecrated act and a way of breaking the law legally in the spirit, but also it would be binding them to a marriage that would involve the production of a child, who would then also be fallen prey. They would also have fallen prey to the wills and issues of this person who forced this situation. There are worse romance scams than just meeting someone online who catfished you and getting your bank account drained. You could have your entire life ruined in a spiritual legacy hijack. People don't believe that this is real. This is one of the more real threats, because you can always make more money, but you can never get the time and the life that you spent with someone back after they've showed themselves to be evil. So this is just some food for thought today. There's more of this in my book, Attacks, actually. It's going to be dropping soon. I know you're looking forward to it, but I figured I'd put in a little time with this series here to uncover what it is that's really going on. And yes, this material is copyrighted and patented, so however it is you need to contact me to use my material, do that, but there are content licenses in place here. And yes, I understand that this is innovative tech. It's not for babies, okay? Don't come to me as a person who picked up a tarot card deck yesterday saying, I can do what you do, because I assure you, I would be a better mentor to you than anyone who told you to get those cards and say something like that without understanding what you're getting into. I care about you. I hope you're okay. Have a wonderful day. Happy Thanksgiving. I am thankful for you all. Thank you for your likes, your shares, your subscriptions, the videos that you share to other people that give me more subscriptions. Thank you for my Patreon subscribers. Thank you for the people who buy my merch. Thank you for the people who put in word of mouth for me. Thank you so much for all of you who actually care about what I'm doing here, what I'm talking about, and how it could impact the lives of everyone, really, for the better. That's what I really want to do. I want to help everyone with what I know. So, without further ado, this has been Tired Goth. Thank you for tuning in to Threat Intel 102, my latest series. And I really hope that it makes a difference for you all. I hope it changes your life in the best way possible. And most of all, that we raise the consciousness of everyone here to a point where everyone can see each other for who and what we really are, which are people. And if we're not people, then what are we? Love you guys. Bye.